Hey everybody, Dual666 here, back for our September 18th DVD update here. Just got back from Vegas with the wife. Got a lot of work done with my band of Perfect Being out there. Got a new single coming out also. If you did not see the last video that I posted, it's a teaser for our new music video for our song Hounds of Orion that's about to drop on October 2nd. So you guys should follow the link that I'll have down below. You should go check that out for sure. Share it around, tell your friends. Good stuff. So, anyways, just gonna check on the camera one more time. I keep doing that. It says something on the screen there that just doesn't look like it's supposed to be there, but it's all good. So, we're gonna get right back into it. It's been a little over 2 weeks. You guys know how I like to do this, so cheers. And cheers. And today, we have Samuel Adams Jacko. It is a pretty fairly regular pumpkin ale, and I think it's a new release this year. It's not too bad. I dig on the pumpkin ales myself. So anyways, gonna get right into it. The first one we have is Red House. This is kind of like a newer, sort of slashery sort of thing. It really wasn't all that great, but I was expecting it to be a bit worse. Honestly, I had a good enough time with it, you know. Pretty standard fucking fare for your cheapo slashery sort of, you know, honestly, it's a little more rapey than it is, you know, slashery, so there's that. But, not too bad, not too bad. Very different. I will say it's got a unique plot line, so, you know, check it out. It's definitely worth a view. Whew. Next up from Blumhouse, got Visions. This was also a little lackluster, but, you know, not the worst thing I've ever seen, of course. You know, I had plenty of fun watching it. It's just that, it seemed a little fairly predictable, and, you know, there's not much going for it for an R-rated film. You don't have a lot of things going, you know, it's not too brutal or anything. It's really just kind of more of a thriller in my opinion, so it is what it is. Visions was cool though. Check that out. Go pretty quickly through this stuff. This next one was quite the doozy. It was The School, and honestly I didn't like this at all. Very, very hokey, weird plot line, really stupid, unlikable characters. Just so overly stylized as to, you know, to the point that I just did not get it. And the plot line in itself is really not so great either. I didn't see a lot going for this. So there it is, The School. Check it out if you must. Just a random acquisition, so check it out. Alright, I've been getting a lot of stuff from Wild Eye because they have a lot of their stuff for $1 at a Dollar Tree usually. And I found a killer little cheapo werewolf movie called The Snarling. You know, very, very, very cheesy, but not bad at all. I had a pretty fun time watching this, honestly. A little drawn out, and even as short as it is, I just felt like I was definitely ready for it to end. But, you know, not a bad time, so, The Snarling. Alright, you guys know I always include a little bit of Kung Fu in these updates. So we got the Cranefighter here, fairly standard fare in, you know, Kung Fu martial arts films. Not too much different going on from anything else. And I'm fairly ignorant, as I've always said, about these Kung Fu flicks, these martial arts flicks. But, you know, in buying up more and more of them, I'm hoping to connect the dots more and more as I go. So, there it is. Fun stuff. Okay. Got these next two here. I've been waiting to get these for a very, very long time. I kind of put them off because I put the original movie off for so long too. I don't know why I would be, you know, put off against it, but for some reason I just waited until finally I found them for super cheap. Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, and Cabin Fever 3, Patient Zero. Number 2 being on DVD, number 3 obviously on Blu-ray. These were excellent. We watched all three of them at once. I do not have the remake quite yet, so I'll have to get back to that at some point. But, you know, the first Cabin Fever is totally awesome. And then Cabin Fever 2, I thought had such big shoes to fill. And honestly, I thought it did a great job. This was awesome. This is totally a solid follow-up. You should definitely check out Cabin Fever 2 if you have not. And I was really hoping that Cabin Fever 3 would not let down, and I was fairly pleasantly surprised. Patient Zero actually delivers pretty damn good. Great makeup, not horrible acting, not a, you know, no plot, but, you know, just the progression and the pacing of the film, it unwinds fairly, you know, fairly nicely, so really fun series. Check out the Cabin Fever series. Alright, so that kind of breaks us into some Blu-rays. We'll get onto a couple more of those. Next up we have Kill Katie Malone. This was really, really cheesy, but still pretty fun. Not, you know, horrible or anything, but just, you know, for an R-rated movie, when it doesn't have much gore or language or, you know, any just like gritty elements to it, like it's kind of a snooze fest for an R-rated film, but it is what it is. I had a decent enough, you know, time watching it alone one night, so there it is. Kill Katie Malone. Found it for pretty cheap. This next one, I was kind of like built up, really excited for, you know, hoping for it to be a bit better, but it just kind of took everything that Paranormal Activity was and just like amplified it by like 7 or 8 times to the point that it was just a big mess. It just never ended. It was kind of just totally ridiculous. I really did enjoy where the plot did lead, but as far as the whole movie goes, the pacing is unreal. It's it pretty much never lets up, but it's so ridiculous that it's not even effective in my opinion. So it's Apartment 143, Emergo, and yeah, it is what it is. It's not bad. It's just another one of these carbon copies of the Paranormal Activity series, and just kind of doesn't quite live up to the hype, but it is what it is. It was fun enough. Next one was a fairly cool creature feature that I kind of happened upon. I didn't really know about this one. Dark Was the Night. A few years ago. Fun stuff. Don't want to give much away about the plot, but it was fun, and you know, plenty of you know, violence and gore to go around for everybody. And yeah, that's about it. Keep it really simple. Dark Was the Night. This was really fun. Alright, getting back into some DVDs now. I have a double feature for the Masters of Horror series. We have Mick Garris's Chocolate and Don Coscarelli's Incident on a Mountain Road. Chocolate being a little underwhelming in my opinion. I don't know what it really was about the film. It just seemed slow-paced and didn't really seem to go anywhere plot-wise. You know, it's hit and miss, in my opinion, always with Masters of Horror. Some of them are just not as great. Then you go to the other side of this double feature, An Incident on a Mountain Road. Or Incident on and Off a Mountain Road. That's what it's actually called. That was actually pretty damn entertaining. You know, plenty of good suspense. The acting is pretty good. You know, tons of violence and, you know, gratuitous gore and whatnot. Don Coscarelli's definitely still got it here. Not going to detract from Mick Garris's career, because obviously he's a legend in his own right. But Chocolate just failed to live up to my expectations for him as well. So there it is. Cool double feature to find. Love Masters of Horror. Gonna wet the palette real quick. Okay. So this was like, I got this and I thought it was going to be like horror comedy. But that's not what I got. I got a couple chuckles here and there, and then I got a pretty damn gritty otherwise film. You know, tons of gore and bloody violence and language and all sorts of horrible shit. Severance. This was pretty damn good, honestly. A nail-biter till the end. I thought this was pretty damn good. So, don't want to ruin anything about it. You know, even the box kind of plays it up in the wrong direction, in my fucking opinion. It says The Office meets The Hills Have Eyes. It's good, gory fun. It's definitely good, gory fun, but I don't think it's anything like that description. It's quite something else. It's fairly lewd and also very rapey at times, so be prepared. Severance. Check that shit out if you're into really gritty films. Got a few more here for you guys. Instead of gritty films, we're going to get into some comedy horror. We've got Killer High, Killer Warthog mascot movie. Just watched this one recently with my wife as well. We had a pretty good time watching this. You know, lots of stuff that we didn't like about it, but it was fun enough. The acting was, you know, just comedic relief in all its respects, but still not over the top. You know, the movie had a good character, and it just wasn't over the top. So, Killer High, pretty cool. Like, it's not necessarily a slasher, it's more of a creature feature flick, but it plays like a slasher because usually the entire film, it's just one person at a time, or one or two people at a time dying, and then not being discovered until the end. It definitely plays like a slasher, but tons of comedic elements to it as well, so this was a really fun time. I know my lighting's weird with my orange light, but you're going to have to deal with it because it's spooky season. So there it is, Killer High. You should definitely check that out. Alright, got something really legendary, found it in a pawn shop or something recently, I don't really remember. But I'm always looking out for Hitchcock films, and finally found The 39 Steps. This is a film from the 30s, and quite a suspenseful ride. Having the technology that they had at the time, and the perspective of film that they had at the time, this is a fast-paced gem right here. This is so suspenseful, not necessarily a horror, more of a crime drama for sure, but you know, it's Hitchcock. You can't go wrong with his films, so had to have it. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Alfred Hitchcock's The 39 Steps. Alright. Got a double feature that I wanted for a very long time. Just went ahead and got it finally, after years and years of waiting. I've seen both these films before, but this is actually my first time owning either of them on physical format. So we have Deranged and Motel Hell on the Midnite movies from MGM releasing. Classic comedy, horror, and straight horror releasing usually. I grew up with these releases, and I tend to prize them whenever I find them, so had to have it. Deranged being a very, very disturbing film about... honestly, it seems loosely based upon Ed Gein, but there's minor details and stuff that don't quite line up with that either. It's just a very strange, sick serial killer movie, and extremely sleazy atmosphere, so check that stuff out if you want to get into that. If you're into sleazy VHS films from the late 70s, early 80s. And then we have Motel Hell. Takes all kinds of critters to make Marla Benson's fritters. Classic 80s slasher. Can't really give too much away with it because they all run pretty much the same way, but really creative kills and plot line. I think it's one of the most treasured films of the 80s, really. Motel Hell is just up there for me. It's a really, really, really fun film. So check that out if you haven't. You may wish to opt for better versions of both of the films, as I probably will in the future. But, as I said, these Midnite movie releasings, they're kind of dear to my heart, so I tend to pick them up. Alright, and we reached the conclusion of the update. We have one more left for you. I've been trying to end it on a lot of 50s films lately, and this is one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. I don't know why it took me so long to get a copy of this, but I just found it for probably $1 at a old video rental store, and it's the giant Gila monster. And if you haven't seen this, I don't know what you're doing. This has got all the perfect elements of a classic 50s cheesy horror film. Stupid music, stupid people, great music, and explosions. Oh, and giant shots of lizards to make them look, next to miniatures to make them look, gigantic. Perfect stuff. Just the pinnacle of cheap horror filmmaking, in my opinion. Stuff like this is going to go down as just like monumental forever. It'll be timeless forever because it's just anybody could still make this. You know what I'm saying? So classic fun, the giant Gila monster. And that is going to conclude the update for now. I'm going to talk about a couple things before we get going. As I said before, we have a new single coming out from my band, A Perfect Being, for our song Hounds of Orion. A video is going to be dropping on October 2nd. Also, wanted to mention the contest that's happening with that. If you go to the DistroKid link below and pre-save the track, and you take a picture, screenshot, whatever, go post it up to our social media, Facebook. There is a post there. I will probably also leave a link down there so you can get to that. But if you go and post it, you're entered for a drawing, and there's probably going to be multiple drawings. I know that they're talking about perhaps doing multiple giveaways, but there's a table with the logo of our last single and the crescent that's in our band. I don't know if any of you watching are a fan of A Perfect Being in particular, but you know, if you like a really fancy table with resin lining on it and stuff, hey, give it an enter. And also, we'll be giving away a $40 Amazon Prime card, so you know, follow the links and you know, pre-save the track. That's pretty much all I'm asking. And other than that, more music is coming from my other bands, but I don't have specifics on that right now. So I'm back in town from Vegas, gonna get back to watching some films, gonna do some different videos up here pretty soon, but until then, I guess I'm done for the night, and hope you guys are all well and keep being safe, and that's it. Dope 666 out, keep on creeping.